to our extraordinary meeting on Tuesday, 28th of July 2026. A warm welcome to everyone in the gallery. Oh, we've got one, thank you. And those watching along at home today. I now declare the meeting open at 4:02. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we live, work and play. We pay our respects to Dark and John Country and elders past and present. We recognise the continued connection to these lands and waterways and extend this acknowledgement to the homelands and stories of those who also call this place home. We recognise our future leaders and the shared responsibility to care for and protect our place and people. Please turn your mobile phones off or switch to silent. In the event of an emergency, wait for instructions from council staff or security guards. If we need to evacuate, council has 2 emergency muster points, one on the footpath of the Grand Hotel at the front of the building and the other at Frank Ballance Park to the rear of the building. If you experience a medical emergency, please alert security or council officers for assistance. Please be advised that this meeting will be audio-visually recorded, webcast live and archived on council's website. In accordance with council's code of conduct, code of meeting practice, filming and photography are not permitted. Anyone observed to be filming the meeting may be asked to leave. Members of the public in the gallery are asked to be respectful at all times to each other and to be councillors in the chamber, and to the councillors in the chamber. In accordance with the code of meeting practice, any disruptive behaviour will not be tolerated. Councillors are reminded that they have been elected to represent our community and are tasked with making decisions and solving problems. Please keep the debate respectful according to council's code of conduct and avoid making statements that might defame or offend. Councillors in the chamber are reminded to turn their microphones on when speaking and off again when no longer addressing council. Audio clarity is significantly improved when speakers speak directly into the microphone rather than addressing the room or looking away. Item 1.4, apologies and requests for attendance via audio-visual link. I note that I have received an apology from Councillor Trent McQuaid. A request was received from Councillor Lamont to attend this meeting by audio-visual link in accordance with clause 6.2 of the Code of Meeting Practice. I note that in accordance with clause 6.24 of the Code of Meeting Practice, Councillor Lamont is entitled to vote on this item. That Council approved the request by Councillor Lamont to attend the Council meeting on 28th July 2026 at 4 p.m. by audio-visual link, as she is unable to attend in person due to her current location. 2, note the apology for Councillor McQuaid. I now put the motion.
Mr. Mayor, procedurally, can we have those 2 split? Because I would like to vote against one and vote for the other.
Yeah, we can do that. We can. So voting for Councillor Lamont, point 1. I now put the motion. All those voting in favour of the motion, please raise your hand and keep it raised. Is there a seconder for the motion to split? No. No seconder, so we'll just do them both together.
Is that true, Mr. Mayor, that you need a seconder for a procedural motion?
Most procedural motions, you need a seconder.
So they'll both do together. All those in favour? Pardon? This is... No. Councillor Neil.
Right, that put them separately, that was all.
I did, but then I needed a seconder and I asked for a
Oh,
seconder and we
sorry, I
didn't
thought
get
the
it.
seconder was for the motion that's on the screen. So I'll second the motion, the procedural motion, to have them split.
You moved it.
The Mayor accepted it.
No. So I put the more, so you've seconded to split
Yes.
the vote.
Yes.
All those in favour of...
There was the mover of the motion, the procedural motion,
I move the motion. I need a seconder.
Be really clear what we're voting on. We're voting what's on the screen. Is that correct?
Yep. Councillor Eaton has asked that the two items be split,
Yes.
and I moved that and asked for a seconder. So Councillor Eaton is a seconder, so to split the vote, all those in favour? So all those in favour is Councillor Eaton. All those against? All against? Defeated. So now voting. Thanks, Corinne. Sorry. So now the both together. All those in favour? I need a seconder.
What's on the screen?
Yeah. What's on the screen now? Who's can I have a seconder?
Councillor McGregor.
Councillor McGregor. Thank you. All those in favour? I've approved the request for Councillor Lamont, and yeah. So Councillor McKenna, Councillor Mullen, Councillor Daniels, Councillor McGregor, Councillor Castles, Councillor Crowley, Councillor Walsh, Councillor Neal, Councillor Smith, Councillor Stanton, Councillor Wright, Councillor McNamara. Carried. Disclosures of interest. I will now ask each councillor to disclose any conflict of interest they may have in items on tonight's agenda. First, for myself, I do not have any conflicts. Councillor Mullen.
No conflict, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Daniels.
No conflict, Mr Mayor.
Councillor McGregor.
No conflict, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Castles.
No conflict, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Crowley.
No conflict, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Walsh.
No conflict, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Neal. Councillor Smith.
Mr Mayor, just confirming this is for the extraordinary meeting?
Yes.
Yep, no, nothing to declare, so.
Councillor Lamont.
Nothing's clear.
Councillor Eaton.
No, nothing, thank you.
Councillor Stanton.
Nothing to declare, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Wright.
Nothing to declare, Mr Mayor.
Councillor McNamara.
Nothing to declare.
Item 1.6, notice of intention to hold confidential session. For clarity, this item is to consider the notice of intention to hold a confidential session rather than move immediately into confidential session. I therefore move the procedural motion on the screen. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Mullen. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you.
Did you clear the gallery? Just clear the gallery.
And now, could I ask our one person in the gallery to please leave? Thank you. And
Tell us when it's off.
yeah, no, it's not yet. It's not yet. This afternoon, okay. The next things. Councillors, we will now consider item 2.1, appointment of acting chief executive officer and commencement of the recruitment process for a permanent chief executive officer. Earlier this month, the chief executive officer, David Farmer, advised me of his intention to retire with his final day. Okay. It's all right. Intention to retire with his final day of service being 2nd of September 2000.
can you just give us a thumbs up when we're on live stream? We're on live stream? Yeah. No? We're on live stream? In closed session, council resolved, council conveys its sincere thanks to Mr David Farmer for his outstanding leadership and significant contribution to the Central Coast and the local government sector. 2, notes the following: the position of Chief Executive Officer is the position of General Manager for the purposes of the Local Government Act 1993. B, council is required to appoint a person to the position of General Manager or appoint a person to act in that position. C, council may appoint a person to act in the position of General Manager on a temporary basis. 3, temporarily appoints, pursuant to sections 334, 336 and 351 of the Local Government Act 1993, Jamie Loader to act in the position of General Manager, Chief Executive Officer from 3rd of September 2026 until the earlier of A, the commencement of a permanent Chief Executive Officer, or B, a period of 12 months from their commencement as acting Chief Executive Officer, or C, a further resolution of council. If Jamie Loader is on leave before council appoints a permanent Chief Executive Officer, the Mayor, following consultation with the CEO recruitment panel, is authorised to appoint one of council's directors as acting Chief Executive Officer for the duration of the leave. 4, for the term of the temporary appointment referred into in resolution above, A, pursuant to section 377 of the Local Government Act 1993, council delegates to Jamie Loader all functions currently delegated by council to the Chief Executive Officer. And B, the position of acting General Manager be titled acting Chief Executive Officer.
Thanks, Mr CEO. Next item, item 2.1, items 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 is on the screen. So endorse the commencement of the recruitment process for the permanent chief. Oh, sorry.
There it is. That's right. Yep.
No.
That's it.
No.
Yeah. That's it.
So the name's Trent's offer.
Oh, okay.
Who's Rachel Stanton? Just give us a second, just a change.
Okay.
Yep, that's it. Endorses the commencement of the recruitment process of a permanent Chief Executive Officer. Notes the indicative recruitment timeline outlined in this mayoral minute. Appoints the CEO recruitment panel consisting of Councillor McKenna, Councillor Mullen, Councillor Crowley, Councillor McGregor, Councillor McNamara, Councillor Stanton, Kath Roach, Managing Director of Sync Solutions, as an independent member. Delegates authority to the CEO recruitment panel to undertake a recruitment and selection process in accordance with the requirements of the Local Government Act 1993 and the Office of Local Governments. Guidelines for the appointment and oversight of general managers. Invite proposals from suitably qualified external recruitment agencies, consultants to assist council with the recruitment of a permanent Chief Executive Officer. Appoint a suitably qualified external recruitment agency consultant to assist with council with the recruitment process to recruit a new Chief Executive Officer for the council in accordance with the requirements of the Local Government Act 1993 and the Office of Local Governments guidelines for the appointment and oversight of general managers. Ensure the recruitment process includes a workshop or facilitated discussions involving all available councillors, the independent CEO recruitment panel members, and appointment external recruitment agency consultant to determine the capabilities and competencies of ideal Chief Executive Officer. Number 9, receives a report regarding the appointment process and recommended candidate for the position of permanent Chief Executive Officer at the conclusion of the recruitment process. I'll now put the motion for item 2.1, 5 to 9. All those, is there any discussion? Sorry. All right, thanks, Councillor Millen. Any discussion, Councillor Smith?
Mr Mayor, just a couple of things. I note that, and look, I realise the mayoral and the deputy mayor's probably all stitched up, but should it say mayor and deputy mayor in the positions for the recruitment panel, rather than identify the names just as a matter of process, since I think that's what the guidelines indicate. And like I said, I know it's stitched up, but in the event that something dramatic happens between now and then, I think we need to be clear that it is yourself and Councillor Moreland are there, or Moreland, are there as mayor and deputy mayor.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, and sorry, I do have a further addition. I know.
Could you just hold on a wee second to
Yeah.
just get it?
You just have to manage the form of words to achieve that. Because depending on how things go, that may change. So
And it's mid-process and all that
maybe
kind of stuff.
maybe it should say that the panel makeup be reconsidered should the mayor or deputy mayor not be represented on the panel.
Sorry, what was that wording?
The panel makeup be revisited should the mayor or deputy mayor not be represented on the panel.
Yes.
So that would come back to the council during that process.
So maybe that's point 3 should be changed to mayor, deputy mayor, and then there should be a point 4 inserted after that, or
Yeah.
happy to be guided by your wording. But I do have another amendment that I would like. Yeah. Is that okay, Mr Mayor, if I just go on
Yes,
with my
thanks,
next point?
Councillor Smith.
So, sorry, the other thing is, in terms of the process, and I did send some wording through to staff, but I understand the recruitment panel will go through their process, they'll do interviews, presumably they will come up with 1 or 2 preferred candidates. What I would like to request be added is that the shortlisted candidates provide a presentation to all councillors before the final decision is made, and I would seek that to be included. I have also got that ensure that applications of those interviewed be made available to all councillors on a confidential basis for their information and consideration. And I'll just see if, are you willing to accept that, or do I need to get a seconder to try and speak to that?
We actually spoke about when it comes down to the final few that they would come to council and speak to the full council.
Okay, so there's
that's
no issue with putting that in then?
No, I've no issue
Yeah,
with that.
so can we just make sure we get the wording?
I think you need to be really clear between the difference between preferred and shortlisted,
Yes?
because what you would normally call the shortlist will be the 4 or 5 candidates you interview. If you were going to do that, then you wouldn't use a candidate panel at all, because you're effectively conducting the full set of interviews through the full council. So in those circumstances, it's more customary to bring the last 1 or the last 2 to the council.
So sorry, I think we kind of agreed there, Mr Farmer, but probably not on the wording. So what I'm suggesting is the short list of the 1 or 2
That's preferred.
top
Yeah.
preferred candidates provide presentation before a decision is made, so that the panel can receive some feedback or input from all councillors. I'm interested to get the view of others about Part E. Oh, sorry, I had two parts that were going to be included, and it looks like one's dropped off. Is that right? If you could just scroll up a little bit. The one about the applications and information being made available to all councillors on a confidential basis. Is that still in there? E? Okay, I would... then let me see... whereby preferred candidates are invited to provide a presentation to all councillors before a final decision is made. Could we just add that, please? Sorry, it's after Part F. Sorry, Part F. Invite a presentation to all councillors before a final decision is made. And if I may, just Part E, I'm interested to get the views of others. And look, I will reflect on the previous CEO recruitment process where all councillors could view the applications of those that were interviewed on a confidential basis. And I would like to see if there was a feeling about that for or against. So I'll leave that in there for the time being and just see which way that discussion goes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't know if I've got a seconder for that, but hopefully...
I thought it was accepted by the mayor.
Oh, it was accepted. Could we just test that Part E?
The last bit is a bit of confidentiality about all the applicants and then all their CVs coming out. I don't think that's, my own opinion is, I don't think that's right. The final ones definitely, but everybody who applies.
No, it's not everybody that applies. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the people that are interviewed for the position. And I will say that this council is very effective at making sure that we can't access anything that they don't want us to access or copy or download or share. So I understand the issue and I understand the need for confidentiality, but I do think that can be achieved. And I think some of the contrary in different fora really does say that you can't withhold information on the basis that you don't trust the councillors not to do the right thing.
You can test that independently if you wanted to. You can say you won't accept that and you want that to be an amendment. Depends on what you want to do.
Yeah, I feel that, could you put that as an amendment and then we can have a vote just for that one? The other stuff's fine.
Yep.
Just so we can get the view of the room.
I'd like to test it and see what the other councillors think. So I'm happy to move it with that amendment Part E, which is just that all councillors have the opportunity to read the applications of those people that are being interviewed.
Yep.
I'm happy to second that.
Second. Councillor Neil seconded it. All those in favour?
Can we actually debate it?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Do you want to speak?
Any discussion?
No, I think I've said what I need to say about it, so thank you.
I think this is...
Councillor Smith,
Oh,
could you
sorry,
put your buzzer?
The decision as to who our next CEO will be will obviously impact on the council for quite some time and very seriously. I think it's worthwhile that we have the opportunity to, those who aren't on the committee, to actually meet the applicants. But it really doesn't mean a lot if you don't have their background and what they've said in their application. They really go together. One becomes of less value if you don't have the first. So I think it is important, if we're going to have a process where we hope to reach a conclusion where there is a universal confidence in the new CEO that we appoint, that all councillors have the opportunity to examine their background and their applications, at least those who are being interviewed.
Thanks, Councillor Neil. Any other discussion?
Yep.
Councillor McNamara.
What do you think the expectation of the people that are applying for this, would you think that their application is going to go to all councillors to read, or is there expectation in the ad going to be that it's just going to go to a panel and not all councillors? Do we know that yet?
No, yet, but I'd ask for some advice from Darwin.
Mr Mayor, through you, the CEO may need to answer. Could I get a clear definition of preferred applicants? I know we talked about it earlier, but in this case, we were talking about sharing CVs. Are we just talking about the candidates that are presented to council to give a presentation? Because that's what I just heard Councillor Neal said, but that was different to what I believe that Councillor Smith's asking for. If I get clarification what preferred
We need to
is.
be very what Councillor Mullen's saying is right. So we need to be really careful about whether you are dealing with the preferred, which will be the 1 or 2, as opposed to the 4 or 5 or 6. The more people, there's an expectation, I think, that the people who will be going and, you know, in that shortlist for this job will have senior roles in large organisations, whether that's private sector, public sector or local government, and their confidentiality will want to be maintained. History shows that these things leak, and I haven't seen it in this organisation, but I've certainly seen it in other organisations, and I've been on the front page of the Sydney Morning Herald as an applicant for a role where I didn't get. So, and, you know, in another organisation. And so I think the preferred, which is the 1 or 2, is probably what people would expect, but the longer list is probably not appropriate. You've elected 6 councillors to represent you in that role, and I think you're creating risks for applicants and risks in the process, and potentially deterring some people from applying.
Thanks, Mr. CEO. Would you want to, would you say the same? Okay. So, yeah, sorry.
Perhaps some language that might assist here is, I think if I understand Councillor Smith's intent properly, you're talking about those candidates that are shortlisted for interview. You're asking whether the full council can see those candidates. That next step is what we're referring to as the preferred candidates, which might only be 1 or it might be 2, and they are the ones that you're proposing would be presented to the council. So if that assists with the language, that's the difference.
Yes, that's correct.
So, any other discussion? Councillor Wright?
So sorry, Mr Mayor. Sorry, can you just repeat that wording, because I don't think it is captured in those 2 clauses.
I can't quite read it exactly from here, but it's the candidates shortlisted for interview.
Yeah.
And then remove preferred candidates.
Mr Mayor, will I just close on that if there's no other speakers? So I do understand the delicacy of this. I would say that applicants to be CEO of this organisation, possibly even watching this meeting right now, but would reasonably, I think, expect that all 15 councillors have an interest in this process, and I would think if they're putting their name forward to manage this organisation, I don't think, you know, they would be shy about the fact that they want all councillors to know their skills and qualifications. And my last point is that previously when we recruited for the CEO of this organisation, I think it was your dear friend Councillor Best that insisted all applications be accessible for viewing by all councillors, which to me was not the ideal situation. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Mr Mayor, could I please ask a question to clarify an issue that has become relevant here? In relation to the information that's provided during the recruitment process, either to members of the recruitment panel or other councillors, is it a breach of the Local Government Act or any other legislation if that information is provided to persons who aren't engaged in the process?
There would be a breach of the Local Government Act under the section that says if you release any information that you know the council would want confidential, if you release that information. Obviously, finding how that happens is another matter.
And what is the penalty?
It's a breach of the code of conduct, and
So just a local government department complaint.
Can I also add that it's a breach of the, this is in the OLG guidelines, the Privacy and Personal Information Protection Act. I do not have that handy.
Okay, so just to be clear, in Councillor Smith's, ensure the applicant and any other information provided by candidates shortlisted for the interview where it is more than one. You know, in my opinion, it's not clear, because the final, when this discussion came up before, it was going to be the final 1, 2, 3 we'll just put it to vote. But Councillor Wright?
Yeah, in terms of debate on this, I'd be comfortable with getting that information from the preferred candidates, because obviously we have that panel that we've voted on amongst all the councillors to do that role, rather than having other councillors seek to influence the panel would be my concern, because I think you'd then get people who are sharing around the resumes internally while still confidential, saying, have a look at this person, we should be going for this person. I think that would disrupt the process. So if you were open to amending that to say preferred candidates, I'd be happy to support it. Otherwise, I'd foreshadow an amendment. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
But again, I think councillors perhaps deliberately misunderstanding the intention. I don't think any responsible councillor would be sharing information around. I think it's to have a level of confidence in the recruitment panel. Is the main thing. I think that's important for all of us.
So you're happy with preferred? Yep.
Yes, I will.
Yeah. Councillor McGregor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, based on what you said about the top three, I was just going to ask the mover if they'd accept that amendment, that the top threes, for Part E. Because if that was the original intent anyway, then that's basically just codifying what's, the intent people have, isn't it?
There's the preferred candidates, which it might even be 4. The preferred candidates could be 1, 2, or 3. It could be 1 or 2.
If you just want it to remain as preferred, that's fine. I'm just putting forward that suggestion.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thanks. All those in favour? No. Councillor Lamont, no. Councillor Lamont, are you voting? No?
No, I'm abstaining. I don't think the panel selection's balanced, so I really can't vote on it.
No problem. So Councillor Lamont's abstaining, everybody else has voted for. Thank you. Yep. I now declare the extraordinary meeting of Council closed at 4:42. I invite the public and those watching on the live stream to join us again at 6 for the ordinary meeting, public forum, and ordinary meeting of council at 6:30. Thank you very much.